So here we have a little problem. And what is this problem? The feminist problem. What is this feminism? It says that it is high time to give freedom to the women who had always been at the side. If Mary is a woman and she is accorded the highest dignity of all creatures, why can't she be also considered as priest? And many nuns and feminist movement members, they're all crying and shouting at the top of their voice to the Holy Father, why can't you ordain us also as priests? Give us equal privilege, equal role, equal footing with the male priests. And what is the reason? They said, well, the Catholic Church has been tried and tested and persecuted, and one of the greatest ordeals that is now being suffered by the Catholic Church is the homosexual scandal. In the United States, it has cost the Church $8.4 billion to pay for all the victims of the homosexual acts of priests. It is very unfortunate, but it has happened. So, many are wrongly asserting that perhaps it's high time to ordain nuns, to ordain sisters to the holy orders. However, this is what the magisterium tells us. In 1976, Inter Insignoris, a document coming from the CDF, Congregation of the Doctrine for Faith, the prefect tells us that ordination of women to priesthood is a close matter. And this dicastery cited 4 reasons. Number 1, tradition. The living tradition for the past 2,000 years. It has always been that for the valid ordination of priests, that means to the sacrament of holy orders, the requirement is male and baptized. Then, from the attitudes of Jesus himself, after he prayed the whole night, the Father called him in order to begin recruiting his apostles. How come in the recruitment of apostles, since Jesus knew that the mother is the holiest of all creatures, why did he not choose Mary to be one of the apostles? Why did he choose 12 male? And so, from the attitude of Jesus, in obedience to the Father's will, we must follow that indeed for priesthood, only male baptized are validly ordained. Is it true that Jesus is also anti-women? Because the culture during those times, the feminists would insist, were against women. And so Jesus was just being conditioned by the situation during those times. And of course, the CDF said, this is not true. In fact, Jesus was not conditioned by that. He was in fact very, very amicable to women. He put them in the same level as men, but of course maintaining the role as God the Father wants them to have. He talked to the Samaritan woman, which was a scandal during those times. Yet to show that he values women, so he was able to have a conversation. In fact, he promised the living water come down from heaven will be given them so that they will not be thirsty again. Then, during the missions of Jesus, going from place to place, he allotted to the women the role of providing the place, providing the meals, and whatever the apostles need, so that in their apostolate, they will not be bothered anymore by these things and they can concentrate on evangelization. So Jesus was not conditioned by the culture. Indeed, it was his Father's will, and his will too, that only male should be ordained priests. Now, the attitudes also of the apostles. Remember, when Judas betrayed Jesus, there were only 11 apostles then. At Pentecost time, we are told in Acts chapter 1 verse 14 that Mary was there, guiding the apostles, preparing them, disposing them, praying for them, that they will be ready for the coming of the Holy Spirit. During the election, when they have to choose one to replace Judas Iscariot, Saint Peter could have nominated Mary to take that vacant place because she is the holiest of all creatures. And yet, that was not reserved for her. It was not the Father's will. The Holy Spirit rather inspired the 11 apostles to choose one more male, and this is in the person of Saint Matthias. Again, from the combined attitudes of Jesus and the combined attitudes of the apostles, what has become the prevailing norm or the standard from that time onwards? The normative in choosing candidates for priesthood has always been male baptized. Now, Benedict XVI, in his book entitled God is Near Us, he said, why this problem of feminism surfacing now and attacking the church? And it has deluded a lot of religious nuns and religious secular institutes. Why? What is happening? Well, it is because of the wrong concept that to put male and female in the same footing means to have the same role. So Benedict XVI said, be careful, he said, because there is trivialization of sex. When we dichotomize sex, he said, with procreation, and just consider sex as a pleasure, then there is a danger. Women will have no children. They have nothing to do. So they will be comparing themselves with men. So now what is rocking the church in Canada and in the first world country and emptying a lot of convents and monasteries is the so-called professionalism. Nuns, to be mature, they must be professionalized. So they want to put themselves in equal footing with the priests. They want to play the role of the priests. And they are crying that there should be priesthood ordination for women, bishophood ordination for women, and even pope women. So how is this going to happen? And Benedict XVI, in his Ratzinger report, he mentioned very, very clearly that this case is closed. While women, they have an important role to play, it is not to be priests. It is not to take part in the ordination of the holy orders. They have their beautiful role to play. In fact, Mary, he said, has the best role to play as the Mother of God. In fact, he said, the church has for the model, the type, the Blessed Mother. Could you imagine, she said, if Mary were a priest, then we would not have any model. And in fact, Benedict XVI also considered Mary as the person who gives equilibrium every time extremities and heresies would happen in the church. True, in the year 431, when Mary was declared as the Mother of God, she was also declared as the mother against all heresies. That means she is the enemy of heretic. She can destroy all kinds of heresies. And in these moments when we are attacked by all kinds of heresies, we need to run once again to the Blessed Mother.